What's going on, all my fellow members of the Asgardian League of Fantasy? It is your commish, Olive Juice 88, coming at you with week 6 recap. Um, as a commish, I've tried to take pride in doing a good job for you guys, and honestly, I feel like I dropped the ball a little bit last week, not bringing you your recap on time. So really, this is going to be a week 6 and week 7 combined recap, but I am going to start with the week 6. Please forgive me for not getting this to you last week, and we'll move on. We got a little busy. With the baby. Took her to the pumpkin patch. Her and my other two children. Had a pretty good day. Fed some animals, camels, emus, goats, all that. Some of us did. The middle child, Aaliyah, did not. She was afraid to feed the camel. You'll have that. It's a big animal. It's whatever. Tried and tried. Wouldn't feed. Wouldn't try to feed the camel. She's too scared. But it is what it is. Life goes on. We are prepping for week 8. As it stands now, yes, some of these stats are going to be a little outdated in the week 6 recap. But I'll run through it pretty quick. So, starting off, you had myself in a battle of Josh's, taking out Josh Jansen by 6 points. My brother Brian Smith taking out old Brad. Really trying. I don't really know. I can't give Brad a nickname off the spot. I don't really know what to say. 33 points, not even a close. That was the biggest blowout of the week, as we had a lot of close games in week 6. We had Brian Carton taking out Eric by 3 points. In this game, I am going to have to give out our bench MVP to Daniil Hunter, who had 34 points, posting 2 sacks and 7 tackles. We had Matt Murphy, defending his honor as the best start to a season with a 9-0 record, stopping Melvin in his tracks by 9 points, preventing him from even sniffing a 9-0 record. Offensive player of the week that week going to Tua Tagovailoa. 29.5 points, 262, and 3 touchdowns, leading the way. And then in our last game, we had Josh Russell taking out Pops. 23 points was the difference there. Defensive MVP, Jordan Hicks. He had 33 points. Complete domination on his part, where he had looks like 10 tackles, fumble recovery, an interception, and a touchdown. Just insane. I had some injury notes. They're a little outdated now. CMC was one to watch out for. He ended up playing. David Montgomery and Debo Samuel and Jimmy Garoppolo and Justin Fields all sat out last week with their injuries. We'll see how they've been tracking this week, and maybe we'll get a couple of them back this week, but we'll just have to wait and see. And then we're gonna look at a little bit of an outdated playoff picture, I guess. But I mean, not much, I don't think, given that it's just 1 week's difference. I think everybody is in similar positions, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But as of the end of week 6, the playoff standings looked a little like Melvin and Eric were the 1 and 2 seeds that would have given them a first round bye. Melvin was 5-1. Eric was 4-2. Melvin has the most points scored in the league at 1,000.7. CMC, his leading scorer, at 149. Eric has amassed 963.88 points, with Tyreek Hill being his leading scorer at 168.8. Our 3 seed was Matt Murphy with a 4-2 record, slated to take on the 6 seed if the playoffs when the playoffs start. If he can maintain that spot. 4-2 record, 844.04 points, and his top scorer is a defensive guy, Zaire Franklin, with 150 points. I kind of scribbled through these a little fast and couldn't make it more legible. So all these point totals are now outdated anyway. And the 4th seed, slated to take on the 5 seed when the playoffs start, was Brian Smith. 3-3 record with 958.64 points. High scorer on the team being Josh Allen with 143.1. And then you had myself in the 5 seed, slated to take on Mr. Smith in the battle of the siblings. Myself with a 3-3 record, 893.36 points. Stephon Diggs being my top scorer with 142 points. And at number 6, we had Josh Russell rounding out the playoff teams as of last week with a 3-3 record, 881.1 points. DJ Moore is his top scorer at the time, 131.2. Our number 7 guy, current D's Nuts holder, trending pretty well, looking to get rid of that trophy. Brian Carden, slated to take on the 10 seed. He's 3-3, 708.98 points. So looks like a lot of luck there in some matchups, being the lowest point scorer and still, pulling out some wins. Quincy Williams being his top scorer, 156 points. Josh Jansen, the 8 seed, 2-4, 814.14 points. TJ Watt being his top guy with 137. Brad, the 9, at 2-4, 779.66 points, with Jared Goff leading the way for him, 131.2. And a kind of shocking last place, Pops down there at 1-5. 815.38 points scored. Looks like the number 7th in the league in points. And just, the roster looks good, and it just doesn't seem like it's come together to perform. Raheem Mostert leading the way with 139.4 points. I mean, Mostert's like the number 2 or 3 running back in fantasy, tearing it up. And, that team's only going to get stronger as it goes. So I look for Pops to make a playoff push from the last place spot. I got the week 7 preview. You got myself taking on Russell. We were both 3-3. Brad taking on Pops. Brad being 2-4. Pops being 1-5. Carden taking on Murphy, 3-3 versus 4-2. Jansen was taking on Brian Smith. 2-4 versus 3-3 record, and Melvin 5-1 taking on Eric 4-2. Um, the early projections had myself favored to beat Russell, Pops favored to beat Brad, Murphy favored to beat Carton, Smith favored to beat Jansen, and Melvin favored to beat Eric. Now we transition to the Week 7 preview. Let's see how those projections held up in our games. Now, Week 7, Battle of the Joshes. I mean, we've got 3 of them in the league, so we're gonna get a battle of the Josh pretty often. This time I came out on top by 7 points. Just an absolute overall, I'm not gonna say domination, but everybody showed up, did their job, and that's what you got to do to win games. I am gonna have to give out the bench MVP to Mr. Chase Young with 26 points, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for a loss. I don't think sacks are included in tackles for a loss because then you'd just be double dipping on points there. So just an insane game by him. So yeah, I mean, that I was very, very thankful that Chase Young was on that bench this weekend. Moving on, our second game, Pops getting win number 2, doubling his win total from last season against Brad in the biggest point differential of the week, 62 points. Offensive MVP, Pat Mahomes finally showing up, having a game, 41.9 points, 424 yards and 4 touchdowns will do it. He was probably number 1 quarterback on the week, I'd assume. Matt Murphy taking out Brian Carton, 29-point victory there. Josh Jansen taking out Brian Smith. So both Brians taking losses this week. This one was by 50 points, Jansen over Smith. Defensive MVP going to go to Myles Garrett for his 44-point effort. 9 tackles, 2 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. Absolutely insane game. And then Melvin takes out Eric by 28 points. So a lot of games that weren't very close, and then a nail biter there at the top between myself and Mr. Russell. Pretty good week of football there. Moving on, our little mid-vid segment for week 7. As we continue the format, is a mid-season first-round redraft. I just kind of go back. I look at how some of the players have played. What potential is maybe yet to be seen, and speculate on what I would have done had I been in these particular spots with the rosters each person had at where they were picking. So first overall, I'm still taking Bijan. He's the best running back in the class, and that's what I needed. So give me Bijan. Second overall, I still had Josh Russell taking Anthony Richardson. His team is pretty loaded at receiver. A lot of guys with some potential there. He's got some pretty good running backs. His quarterbacks are a little on the older side, so I completely expect that to have been the same. Third overall, I'm still taking Jahmyr Gibbs. I think his potential is yet to be seen in this offense. We got a pretty good glimpse of it in garbage time last week against Baltimore as he put up finally a 25, 26 point effort, scored his first touchdown, I believe, first rushing touchdown, I'm sure. It's wild. He just scored his first rushing touchdown, and Bijan doesn't have a rushing touchdown yet. So I would stick with that. At fourth overall, I kind of toyed around with the thought of Josh Jansen taking Devin Achan, maybe Zay Flowers, and then it hit me like a ton of bricks. Puka Nacua has been the most productive rookie receiver this year, second most productive rookie receiver in recent memory. Um, I saw a graphic this week where he's like 5 yards behind Jamar Chase as player to have most receiving yards in their first 6 or 7 games. And that's insane. What he did those first 4 weeks without Cup, and then even when Cup came back, he still was has produced just as much. And I honestly got to say, I think I kind of fudged up trading him for Javonte, because I didn't think that he was going to have as much production as he's kind of maintained after Cup came back. I thought he was I didn't think he was going to be done, but I didn't think he was going to continue to do what he's been doing, and that's kind of where he's been. He's still producing at a high level. So I've got Puka number 4, the first receiver off the board. Number 5, I've got Melvin taking Devon Achan. Melvin's running back situation is a bunch of older guys, and I could definitely see the scenario of him taking Achan instead of anybody else, and really trying to kind of shore things up there. Number 6, got Sam Laporta going to a tight end needy team for Josh Jansen. Number 7, got Eric taking Zay Flowers after Laporta being off the board. I think he could have still went with Kincaid there, but I could definitely see the scenario where he takes Zay Flowers at 7 and then maybe tries to go tight end a little bit later. So number 8, got Brian Smith taking Jordan Addison, with Achan not being on the board anymore. Number 9, Russell taking JSN after a fall. JSN, I think the potential is still there for him to absolutely produce this year, but I think his real production, his real ceiling is not going to be realized until next year. And then number 10, Tajay Spears, also going to Mr. Russell, as he had those last 2 picks of the first round. He's shown a lot of potential coming in and spelling Derrick Henry. There's rumors that Henry could be traded before the deadline Tuesday, and that's just going to catapult Tajay up into a highly productive role there. So that in a nutshell is my first round redraft. I would still the second round I would probably start the same way it did, with a couple of quarterbacks going off the board, and then Kincaid would probably still fall to Eric at the fourth pick. I think he had in the second round. Um, so yeah, we'll see what happens. I think I'm gonna have to get out of this guy's way. This guy just showed up to this Dollar General where I'm hanging out, and he's about to refill all the propane tanks. And I think I'm kind of in the way. Um, so I'll just list off the Week 8 preview real quick. I'm taking on Eric. Eric was favored in the projections. Brad's taking on Melvin. Melvin was favored. Carden's taking on Jansen. Jansen's favored. Murphy's taking on Pops. Murphy's favored. And Russell's taking on Smith. And Smith was favored in those matchups. Those are just solely off the projections that Sleeper has for everybody. And we'll see how it all plays out. All that being said, good luck to everybody this week in Week 8. I'm going to the Titans game on Sunday. Hopefully they win. I don't know that they do, since they'll be starting, trash at quarterback. It hasn't been good, and I'm not looking forward to how the season's going to play out. I'm real excited to be going to the game, though. It's my first Titans game in Nashville. Second game I've been to at that stadium. We went to a Louisville bowl game a couple years ago that was played in Nashville. But it is my first Titans home game to attend. I went to one against where we played the Colts. Took Pops up there, me and my brother Brian and my dad's wife, my stepmom. We all went up there, enjoyed. I believe the Colts probably won that game. The Titans weren't very good that year. Think, if I recall correctly, I think it was like one of the last couple years that McNair was there, but he was hurt. I don't even think he played that game. Either way, we had a great time up there. It was so long ago. It was in the RCA Dome, so it's been a while since I've been to a pro football game, and I'm pretty excited to be able to go to this one. My wife is pretty great. She's the best around, and she just asked if I wanted to go to the game. Told me to pick one out, and she went and bought tickets. Like, kind of spur of the moment kind of thing. I love her. She's great. She's amazing. She's awesome. Best, yeah. I love her so much. But all that being said, I want to wish you guys luck this week. I'm gonna get out of here so this guy can load up his propane. He done had to move his truck a couple times, and oh well, it'll be all right. So all that being said, peace out, guys. Good luck this week, and I'll catch you guys next week with the week 8 recap.